in Palm Springs. Summertime is everything. Homeboys hanging out. All that ass hanging out. Bikinis, bikinis, martinis, no wings, just the king of the queen. Pretty my lady. And look at here, baby. I'm all up on you, 'cause you represent me.
Welcome back, everyone, to Heart for the Community on heart4radio.com. We are broadcasting live from RMC Studios in Los Angeles, California, on the Punch It Radio Network. Quick shout out to our executive producer, Larry Witherspoon, and our lovely engineer, Miss Kiki, who keeps us on track and sounding good.
Yes, thank you.
So, during the break, I received a couple of messages through Facebook, so wanted to give a quick shout out to, hey, Mike, out in Utah. I saw your message. Thank you.
Hey, Mike.
And which brings me to one of the questions that I thought before we went on break. Is that correct?
Yes.
English? Okay. How is important, or do HR professionals check, like, individuals' Facebooks? Oops.
It's public information, so it depends, position. But sometimes when I'm interviewing, I will actually pull up the different social networks to see, LinkedIn is big, so that's the one I always check first. And then Facebook as well. So it just depends. It's not always all the time, but when I don't have a face-to-face and I'm on a phone, sometimes I do that. Sometimes. Just depends.
So I guess that's kind of not a warning, but kind of a tip for everyone, pay attention to, what you put on your Facebook.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I'm surprised.
People, it's kind of like taking a photo of you. Let's say, I don't know, you're doing something questionable. And even with like a glass of wine or beer, if it's not, I don't know, just be careful. I say if it's like you're taking a photo and putting it in the middle of a crowded mall and walking away from it, it's out there for everybody to see. So just, keep it conservative.
That's true. And I remember when I used to do a lot of stuff with the nonprofits, and, we'd go to different mixers and networking events. Like, I was always trying to be cautious of what I had in my hand. Because I don't drink, but the glass is still the same. So even though I have, clear liquid in a tall Pilsner, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Glass.
I'm the one with the glass of wine. Okay.
But, for someone who's looking at the photo, they don't know because they're not there.
Right.
So just be careful, Facebook. And then how important is LinkedIn? Because I know a lot of people who don't know what it is or don't really utilize it. And maybe you can kind of talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I remember earlier in the show you were talking about how to find a job and how networking is important, and that's generally how you will find a job, through networking through your own professional network, through your personal network. And what LinkedIn is the same thing. I kind of call it a grown-up Facebook for professionals. So it has the same, you post your profile, but it's all your resume. You can have people recommend you on LinkedIn, which is amazing. So even, let's say, and I like seeing this when I search somebody, if I have it maybe in the cover letter or maybe a link on their resume to their LinkedIn, I'll go look at it. And it would be extremely valuable if they had somebody endorse them or have recommendations to their work on that. So I'm already getting like a little bonus and thinking, okay, I like their resume. I looked at their LinkedIn. They have some recommendations. I think I'll give them a call for a first phone interview. So it's important that way. And it's really nice to have a professional photo, it needs to match your resume. So it's basically like an online resume. And then you can build your own online network with your own professionals and then meet people that way. So maybe you find a job, the hiring manager's name on LinkedIn. It will tell you if they're a second link to you, like if somebody knows them, and already you have an in, maybe they can make a phone call for you or say, hey, one of my colleagues is coming in for an interview. Her name is Jennifer so-and-so, and you're already at the forefront of that person's mind when it comes to hiring.
That's a good point.
I had a really quick question, Leilani. What do you feel in regards to people who find out there is a job opening for a certain business, whether their family works there. They don't have a direct line in, but they do have an email or such. Maybe it's the CEO's email or the president's email. Because I have found numerous times where, and specifically for me, where I'll just go straight to that email that I have because it's my only connection to that business, and have sent them a cover letter and my resume, and I've had responses back where they've said, wow, you were gutsy and I love that tenacity. When can we meet? So is that something that you suggest, wanting to stand above the other competitors that are going out for the same position?
Definitely. Anything that can set you apart within reason. So you want to be respectful, but if you do have your own connection at that company, I would definitely send it to them. There are executives in the companies I've worked for who will hand me a resume, or maybe it'll come from somebody in the warehouse. It doesn't matter, but it's coming from somebody within that company. And there's some clout in them handing it to me or handing it to whoever's hiring to say, hey, take a look at this. Because they're sort of on the line for that too. When you recommend somebody, you need to make sure that you would want that person recommended by your name.
Right. Of course. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. One thing I can say when it comes to finding a job, there's all the pieces from how you're going to get it in the job search and your resume and your interview. But the one thing that I think is super important in the entire process is the passion or the drive that you exude when you're pursuing that job. It stands out. It stands out from, your job search with you and yourself personally, and then from there it stands out with how awesome your resume is because you really want that position, to how you come across on a phone when you have a phone interview, to how you interview in person. It's you can't fake that. You can't fake that somebody is passionate about something and happy to be pursuing this job.
Right. I think the thing that is most frustrating for those of us that are looking for work is that, you get to a point where you have filled out countless applications online and you just get this barrage of, sorry, we went a different route. And it's just like, really? Back in the day, 5-10 years ago, you could put an application on and submit it, and you're getting a call back that day, you're getting an interview the next day, a second interview, and you were signing your HR papers and your pay, that following week starting. And now it's a completely different ballgame, and it's so frustrating for those that are, in the midst of looking for work. What do you say to that?
Yeah, you're right. And I hear it. I hear it in my interviews, my in-persons and my phone interviews. I hear that frustration. I see it in emails. And the one thing I think, it's to look at it this way. That job is that next one that you're going out for, so don't give up. It's always one more step. If you didn't take that step, you probably would have gotten it, and so you just have to, have faith and keep doing a great job in your job search and keep reaching out and really network. And if you, do some research online, figure out if there's any type of meetup groups you can go to start meeting people. There's several avenues you can take to try to find that job outside of just submitting your application.
That's true. And I remember, back in the day, it was always difficult. How do you explain that big gap, from, your between your jobs? How would you, or what recommendations would you give people now?
As it pertains to?
That big gap. Because, some people are out of work and, it's not like they're not trying to look for work. But how, what's the best way to explain that big gap of why you couldn't, why you're not working? Yeah,
so because unemployment has been so high and because the economy has been the way it has been for years now, it's just a simple explanation that I haven't been able to find a job in this market right now. And that's completely accepted. I've heard it so many times. You can see when I see hundreds of resumes, and when I look at them and I see the gaps, there's always there's a common thread in when that's happening, and it's been the past 3 years.
Right.
And when I go through someone's job history and ask them, okay, so what was the reason for leaving, or take me through, the reasons that you left each corporation, is it's layoff, always layoff. There was a reduction in the workforce. They eliminated my department. And when we have a lot of sympathy for that, it's terrible. It's terrible to know people that really need jobs. And there is a lot of competition out there. So that's all I can say is you just got to keep trying. You got to keep at it and be creative.
Okay. Thank you. We have another quick break. We could continue talking about this for a while, but let me go on another quick break, and we'll be right back with unemployment, giving some tips, and Leilani.
Hey, Mr. DJ, put a record on. I wanna dance with my baby.